thank you for coming tonight. Appreciate it. My name is Jason Feuerbach. I'm the athletic director here at Whitney High School. We're doing the second half of our fall sports tonight. We've already met with dance, cheer, and football to kind of get them out of the way and done. And so you guys are round 2 for us this year. And so thank you for coming. This will meet your mandatory meeting requirement for the 2014-15 school year. And so if you play a winter or spring sport, you do not have to come to another one. You only have to come to one per year. And so, like I said, thank you for showing up and getting this out of the way. If someone you know can't make it tonight, or they're on vacation or something, is sometimes the case in July. If you know someone in that situation, just have them email my secretary. I'll give you her email in a minute, and they can come in and watch a video and then meet the requirement. And so please pass that along if someone asks you. All right, so contact information, Kathy over there. Kathy Maxey's my secretary. You got to wave, Kathy.
Hello.
There's our office phone number right there. It's the school's phone number. We're extension 6408. That's to the athletic department. That'll ring at Kathy's desk. And so if you have any questions or anything, please feel free to call her. On the website, whitneywildcats.org, if you do have a question you want answered, there's a little thing on there that says contact us. If you click that, the email comes to Kathy, and she'll respond to you. So that's another easy way to get a hold of us. And then Twitter and Facebook, we're at Whitney Cats on Twitter, and then Whitney High School on Facebook if you want score updates, things like that. All right, the agenda for tonight. So there's kind of basically 11 different parts. We'll start with the philosophy of the sports on campus, talk about the role of the athlete, how we're hopefully making our athletes on campus better, parent expectations, the website and how you're going to register to be an athlete, and then some budgetary items, athletic information, and then we will go to breakout sessions with each sports individual coach. At that breakout sessions where you're going to sign in to get credit for tonight's meeting attendance. So make sure you go to that, because you're going to fill out a form. The coaches are going to collect them, bring them back to me tonight. That's how we're going to have verification that you were here. All right, kind of just real quick, and I know some of you that have sat through these before, some of this first part hasn't changed, so thank you for being patient. But I think it's important to go over the philosophy of this program. So I do think that's an important component to address every year. And so that's kind of how we're going to start. So our vision, I just completed my second year as the athletic director here. This will be my third year. When I came in, one of the first things I did was meet with the head coaches. We ran surveys. We did different things. I met with the head coaches, and I asked them one question. Where are we going with this program? And what we came up with was we wanted to be a dynamic athletic program. All right, we wanted to not only win league titles, win championships, win those rival games, but we want to do a lot more. We want to be known in the community. We want to give the kids different opportunities. We want to add community service, character education in. We want to do all those different components that we're adding in each year. And so that's our goal, to be a dynamic program. From there, I said, okay, that's great, but how are we going to get there? That was my next question to them. And in dealing with and talking with the coaches, looking at those surveys again, and then also talking with the captains of each team, we came up with 3 words: work, family, life. And hopefully if we do these 3 things, that we will be able to reach our vision. And it's work hard, be a family, and learn life skills. And we'll talk about those a little more. All right, so what I will do is I will meet with the athletes kind of during probably the second or third week of school. We'll talk about these. So we say, what does it look like in the classroom to work hard? And we talk about, all right, you need to complete your assignments. You need to study. You need to stay on task. We talk about what's it like being part of a family. You need to be respectful to your teachers, to your classmates. You need to listen when someone's talking. You need to accept people's differences. And then we talk about life skills in the classroom. What does that look like? Being on time, dressing appropriately, having a positive attitude, attending class. One of the greatest things that we did with our staff was they do online referrals. Because I'm an assistant principal, I see every referral. And I will call you down if you're an athlete. I don't care if you're my grade level or not. And so, hopefully trying to address those things and following that mission statement in the classroom. From there, in the athletic arena, same three things. What do we mean when we were saying we're working hard in the athletic arena? We're ready for practice. We're ready to go. We're demonstrating full effort. We're not giving up. We're watching film. We're studying and scouting our opponents. Family, we're listening to our coaches. We're developing a relationship with our teammates. We're worrying about our teammates and not other people. I'm a big fan of that. Whether it's when we're playing, practicing, or even in the stands. I don't work at any other high school. I don't really care about those kids. I care about the student athletes that are here. And I tell them the same thing. I don't want you talking trash to another team. I don't want you getting in fights. I don't want the fans booing. Worry about the people that go to school here. Worry about the kids that we care about and love and support them. Don't worry about other people. So trying to hammer that home to the kids. Life skills, attending all practices, being on time, being responsible if you're going to be late or absent, having a positive attitude, respecting your coaches and teammates, and not arguing with referees or opposing players. Just trying to teach, hopefully, some life skills through sports that will carry on as your son or daughter graduates from high school. All right, so kind of the student challenge statement. Dare to commit, dare to work hard. I am disciplined, I am a student, I am an athlete, dare to believe. So if you ever see the dare to believe stuff, that's kind of where it's coming from. It's kind of dare to believe in those various things. As an athletic department, one thing we did is I met with the coaches is we came up with some core values, trying to run it more like a business. And so we basically have 6 core values that we address when we have a coaches meeting. Whenever we have an agenda, each agenda item has all the core values on it that address each core value. So value 1, standardization of processes, protocol, and forms. You'll see that with the online registration. When I first took over, there was a line that people were waiting in for 2.5 hours to get cleared for a fall sport. We've done away with that. There are no clearance cards. I will walk out the first day, I will hand the coaches tryout roster. So we've done away with trying to just standardize those processes. Value 2, embrace and support the concept of the student athlete. We try to do our best with that. Last year, our varsity athletes had a 3.32 grade point average. So something we're terribly proud of, something we've bumped up, 0.25 points in the last year, and we're going to try to continue to work on that. Value 3, commitment from the players and coaches. Value 4, coach and player discipline and adherence to the rules. Value 5, strive for continuous improvement as an athletic program. And then value 6, build a team in an athletic program. Sports on campus, those are all the sports we offer. We offer 23 different sports. This year we'll have a total of 49 teams that play those sports. So the program's growing. We've added on some different levels here and there, which has been great. And so those are the sports we offer. All right, the role of an athlete. So for the athletes in here, being a student athlete. So basically there's 3 main components here at the high school. Academics, athletics, and activities. Hopefully you're involved in all 3 of those, heavily involved. And out of those 3, the most important piece is academics. Chances are you're not going to make a professional sport. So hopefully through your experience in high school you can have good grades. We can teach you some life skills. We can get you some money to go to college if you want to still continue to play a sport. But chances are you're not going to make it professional and make a living off your ability. 1 in 10,000 high school athletes makes a professional sport. All right? And so the odds are not in your favor. Right now Whitney High School has a player in the NFL, so we're done for a while. All right, so there you go. Athletics is a crucial piece though, and hopefully, like I said, hopefully you guys can learn from that and really embrace the concept of student athlete and performance in the classroom. So speaking of being a student athlete, study table. We do have mandatory study table, and here's how it works. Freshmen, raise your hand. All right, so you guys have mandatory study hall. All right, it's not an option, unless at the first grading period you have a 4.0. That's the only way you can get out. Other than that, you'll be with me every Monday on a short day. Here's what we did, parents. We noticed that on a Monday we get out of school at 1 o'clock. A lot of the freshmen had no way to get home between 1 and 3. And so 2 years ago we said, you know what, that's fine. We'll put them in study hall. And so they aren't running around campus chasing each other and doing things they shouldn't be doing. And so we hold study hall in here. They can't sit by anyone, so there has to be a space in between them. They have to face forward. Each team sits in certain rows, so if they misbehave, I just send their coach a text from in here. They can't talk, feet on the ground, no sleeping, have something academic to work on. And so that's kind of how study hall works. Now, you must bring homework, a book to read, something. All right, so you can't just sit there and not do anything at all. We go from 1:15 to 2:30. Here's who will attend. All 9th graders. You guys will run an announcement. We'll tell you guys the first day we're starting because we don't start the first 2 weeks. And then we'll start study hall. All 10th, 11th, and 12th graders, after that first grading period, so after that quarter mark, if you have 2 or more no marks, you'll be ineligible. Or if you have less than a 2.75, you'll be in study hall with me. Now, once you've attended as a 10th, 11th, or 12th grader, you can't get out of study hall until your grades are up. So that's kind of how that part works. At that first quarter grade, if you are a freshman, you have a 4.0, you can opt out. If you're an older student here and you want to come help tutor, I will definitely give you community service hours to sit out in the lobby at a table and help tutor the freshmen. If you miss study hall, so in my world, we have mandatory study hall. And just to let you know, mandatory to me means mandatory. It's not optional. So if you have to miss, which is fine, you might have to miss because of a dentist appointment or a physical therapy appointment or something like that. That's fine. But you have 4 days to make it up. So even if it's an excused absence, you do have 4 days to make it up. You can come in before school or during intervention and lunch to the front office, sit down, study, and we'll sign you off. If you do not make it up in those 4 days, you will sit your next game. All right, so that's kind of how study hall works. All right, eligibility for tryouts. Basically, you have to have a 2.0. So if you're a freshman right now, you have a clean slate. You guys don't have anything to worry about. We don't check your 8th grade grades. If you're an older kid, you had to have a 2.0 at the end of the second semester. When the first quarter ends, because of our no-mark system, you have 2 weeks to clear any grades. So there's a 2-week grace period, if you will, for the athletes. After that, you're ineligible for the rest of the season. And so that's kind of how it works. So the grades come out, you have 2 weeks to clear them. If you don't, you're ineligible for the rest of the season. And you can't go do another sport. You can't go try out for another sport for like a winter sport. If you have more than one no mark or no credit at the semester, you're ineligible. So you're allowed one out of 8. If you have 2 out of 8, you're ineligible. You have to pass 20 units, which in our system is very easy because we have 8 classes. If there's any freshmen, this last part does not apply to you at all. But if you're a transfer student, so if you're a sophomore, junior, or senior, and you went to another school and now you're coming to Whitney, make sure you guys come see me after the meeting. All right, because we have to fill out some additional paperwork to get you guys cleared. So that's kind of the generic eligibility. Athletic discipline. This is the discipline that was adopted by the school board. Both Whitney and Rockland High School follow these policies and procedures. There's basically 3 class infractions. Academic ineligibility is class 1, class 2 is behavioral, and then class 3 substance abuse. So those are kind of the big 3 where you'll get in trouble as a student athlete. The last part is you guys are reading through the online registration. There is a portion in there that's the attendance policy. We have a department-wide attendance policy. So it applies to all athletes, all levels, no matter what sport you play. And so some things that you need to make sure of as the seasons unfold. The policy is in effect, like I said, department-wide. On game day, you need to be in class all day. If you have a doctor's appointment the morning of a game, it's not a big deal. Just have your son or daughter come by and say, hey, Mr. Feuerbach, I got a game tomorrow. I'm going to be a little late to school because I have a doctor's appointment. No problem. I clear it. They're good to go. Please don't call me. Please don't email me. Make your son or daughter come do it. All right, going back to those life skills. All right, trying to teach them responsibility for themselves. And so if they're going to miss the morning of a game or the afternoon of a game, just let me know. It's no big deal. It just needs to happen the day before. Excused versus unexcused practice attendance and consequences. So as you guys read through the attendance policy, there's going to be excused reasons to miss practice. There's going to be the consequence. There's unexcused reasons to miss practice and the consequence. And so make sure you read through all those. Make sure you take note of those. Excused versus unexcused game attendance and consequences. So if you're going to miss a game, there's a procedure and a policy of how you go about that and the consequence for missing a game. And then I'll tell you right now, an unexcused absence from a game is automatic dismissal from the team. And so that's kind of those right there. Tardiness to practice is handled by each head coach. So they handle that. If you have 5 or more unexcused practice absences, you're removed from the team. If you have 8 or more total absences, you're removed from the team. And so it made it very easy for the coaches to kind of follow a policy and procedure. So as you read through the handbook, all of that's in there in a lot more detail, but please make sure you make note of it. All right, transportation policy. We have a meet you there policy. And so basically you'll hear the coaches say, we have a game tomorrow, meet me at Del Campo at 4 p.m. And it's your job to get your son or daughter to Del Campo. So it's kind of just a meet you there policy. It's been in effect for a few years. We're trying to work some budgetary things, which we can talk about a little later. But hopefully at this time next year, we will be taking the kids to Cosumnes Oaks and Ponderosa. So we're trying to work on some things there to go into effect for the next school year. But for right now, for this year, it's a meet you there policy. All right, athletic improvement and analysis. Last year what we did was we took all the juniors and seniors and we loaded them in mandatory athletic weights. And so it kind of gave us a chance to start from ground zero. Before I took over, we had 13% of our varsity athletes in weights. Obviously a big problem with that. You could tell it was hurting us on the courts, the fields, in the pool, wherever it was. So we went out, we developed a bunch of classes, kind of went about them. We revised them already. We went and talked to different people, brought in an awesome new teacher last year to help out, and have already made adaptations and changes for next year. And so trying not to stay stagnant, trying to stay on top of what the student athletes need to know going into the collegiate level to set them up for success. And so basically we have 2 certified instructors. It's all based on multi-joint movements, sport-specific training, speed, plyometrics, agility drills, metabolic training, core strength and testing. And last year, and I'll use this team as my example, I think you saw the benefits of this class, and the girls being in there for a full year with women's soccer. As the season wore down, that women's soccer team, they were stronger, they were faster than any other team they played until they got to the championship game. But where you could see other teams start to falter and start to break down, the girls kept going. And you could tell that they were in a lot better shape and better condition than the other teams they played. And so as we get this system going, hopefully through the course of a few years, it'll really help us out here athletically. Like I said, for 11th and 12th grades, it's non-optional. If you do have a conflict for some reason, we can sit down and talk. All right, training room. So we have a full-time trainer, and we have, I believe, 7 student trainers this coming year. And so the training room is located between the 2 locker rooms outside. We're redoing it right now, actually. We got some bikes, and we got some different things that, we're kind of restructuring it in there. The trainer in the training room is partnered with Rebound Rehab out of Rockland. They've been awesome to us. Minor injuries we'll treat here. The athletic trainer will diagnose the injury or help diagnose it, help treat it, rehabilitate the athlete, and try to prevent any further complications. If it's too serious for him to handle, he will call you and tell you your son or daughter needs to go see a doctor. If the athlete does see a doctor, no matter what it's for athletically, they must provide medical documentation stating their injury, time frame in which they cannot perform, and medical clearance upon their return, that they've been cleared. And so kind of an important thing there. That note can just go back to the trainer. He'll take care of everything else for that note. All right, parent expectations. Kind of some things. Last year as we kind of went through the school year, kind of sat down, we analyzed, we evaluated the year of some of the head coaches. And one thing we decided to implement at these meetings was parent expectations. So, some things that as parents, hopefully you realize. First, make sure your child knows win or lose that you love them. You appreciate their efforts and that you're not disappointed in them. Number 2, try your best to be completely honest about your child's athletic capability, attitude, and sportsmanship. I'll be honest, most students aren't going to pitch at Stanford. It's few and far between. So please try to be as honest as you can. Be helpful, but don't coach on the way to an athletic competition, on the way home, at breakfast, and so on. Let the coach do the coaching. Teach your child to enjoy the thrills of competition, trying, working, improving, etc. Don't compete with the coach. Try not to relive your athletic life through your child in a way that creates pressure. Remember, you fumbled the ball, you lost games, you were frightened, and you were not always the hero. Don't compare the skills, courage, or attitude of your child with that of other members of the squad or team. Always remember that children tend to exaggerate both when praised and when criticized. Temper your reactions to their tales of woe or heroics they bring home. Never approach a coach on game day to talk about your child. Participate in team fundraisers and events, and demonstrate sportsmanship and appropriate behavior at all events, contests, and practices. So that's kind of from the AD to you parents, that's kind of my expectations of you guys. If there is an issue, and this is all in the handbook, so you can read it later, But non-legitimate grievances include, but are not limited to, playing time, playing the right position, coaching strategies, win-loss record, etc. Chances are if you call me about one of those or email me, I'm either not going to respond or I'm going to respond and leave it at that. Legitimate grievances. So if you do have a problem with the following, please feel free to contact me and let's sit down and meet. Failure to provide due process, violations and disciplinary action, failure to provide a fair opportunity to compete, to make the team, mistreatment, or any violation of an adopted code. So if it's one of those, definitely email me, definitely call me, let's sit down and meet. All right, the process, and here's how it kind of works. So if it's one of those, in the second bullet point, if it's one of those, I'll meet with the student athlete, the parent, and the coach. Well, that's first you guys will meet. Try to sell it with the coach. And that's going to be my first question to you. Have you talked to the head coach? Parent meeting request for a meeting with the athletic director. That'd be your next step. A meeting between the student athlete, the parent, the coach, and the AD. From there, a written report will be submitted to the principal by all parties involved. If you still have a problem, we'll meet with the principal, presiding, involve all the parties. And if you still have a problem, you can submit a written appeal to the deputy superintendent. So that's kind of the process of appeals. All right, website and social media. And so moving on, kind of the website part. There's our website, whitneywildcats.org. We're trying to use that for everything. And so as a parent, as an athlete, please go there. Use that as a resource. There's a bunch of tabs at the top that you can click on and get a bunch of different information. One of the more important ones is email alerts. Right now we have over 4,000 people that get the email blasts. And so you can go through, you can register, you can get text messages, and you can pick the sports you want. And so please subscribe to that so you're always getting information from your coaches regarding that sport. And so that's one of the tabs on the top. Schedules. If you look on the main page, over on the bottom, on my bottom right, are all of our teams. If you click on that team, it'll pop up your schedule. Those schedules are live. So as things change, they automatically change. So when we change them in our software, it automatically changes them on the website. They're not PDFs. And so it's a live website. If game times change or whatever, that website's always going to be correct. That's where we book our officials off of. And so definitely use that for your schedule. There's a sponsorship tab if you're interested in sponsorships. The money does go to your specific program that you're interested in. And so it comes through there and then it will go to that specific program, whether it's golf or water polo or whatever it is. But there's a bunch of different sponsorships. You can sponsor the venue they participate in. You can sponsor the student section at one of their games. You can sponsor student scholarships and awards. We're trying to build an outside storage unit. Joel was on me about it this morning. Or if you want to see a certain thing in a game and you're willing to help pay for it, that's great. Contact us and we'll make it happen. We had a big awards banquet last year. It was absolutely awesome. We had about 275 people there. We're going to do the same thing this coming year. And that's where we announce our Athletes of the Year, our Scholar Athletes of the Year, and a bunch of awards. So if you'd like to sponsor one of the awards, we definitely accept that too. Or if you want to purchase event tickets, there's also event tickets for sale. Season tickets are there, VIP seating, things like that are also available on the website where you can pay with a credit card. If sponsors do spend a certain amount, under each bullet they get certain things. And so as they start climbing up that ladder, trying to treat it where hopefully those people get rewarded to spend a lot of money with us. There's a screenshot of our Twitter page. Like I said, we're at Whitney Cats. If a game gets canceled or rescheduled, we will post it on Twitter. And so we'll try to do as many scores as we can. But there's a lot of stuff on Twitter. So if you follow Twitter or have a Twitter page, like I said, we're at Whitney Cats. Facebook page, and we're going to kind of resurrect that. We didn't use it last year because we thought another group on campus was going to use it, and they ended up not. And so we're going to use it. And so if you're on Facebook, Whitney High School. The other one is WCTV19.com. We have a sports broadcasting class. And so in there they do all kinds of things. They do some of the games live. They do highlight packages. They interview the coaches. They interview some of the players. And so their website's WCTV19.com. Please use that as a resource as well. All right, online registration. So if you're a student athlete here, you need to do this once per year. And this will get you registered in our system. So there's 6 different steps that you need to carry out. Step one, well, not even step one. You're going to go to WHITNEYWildcats.org, and you're going to click on the tab that says athlete registration. From there, it's time to get started. All of the cursor right now is over there on red. Everything's going to happen right under there. So as you complete things, you just click up there, and you click on the next step, and it carries you through it. So step one's the physical. A physical is good for a calendar year. So if you had a physical in December, and you're a fall athlete, you're going to be okay. You don't need to go get a new physical. All right, but if you didn't, you need to get a physical. That's why we tried to move this meeting up into July. I know it's not the greatest time, but we're trying to give you time before August 11th to get your physicals. And so step one's a physical. The forms are online. You can submit it online, and it comes right to us. If you do have a problem submitting the physical form online, you can drop it off and we can manually load it. But for the most part, try to do it online. Step two is the athletic handbook. And so that's where a lot of the stuff we've talked about tonight is located. It's pretty long, I'm not going to lie. So just go through that. At the bottom, it's electronic signature. You'll sign it, submit it, and it comes to us. And so step two is the athletic handbook. Please make sure you pay attention to the attendance policy. Step three, eligibility and insurance. And so this is the part where we check who's been at Whitney, who hasn't. We can run queries and see who's been at different schools just to make sure we don't miss any paperwork. There's some questions you have to answer and check off. We ask for your insurance information, your insurance carrier, things like that. And so please fill that out. Same thing at the bottom. It will be an electronic signature, and submit it. Step four is some concussion information that came from some different organizations. The CIF asked us to have them fill it out. And as you read through that, probably the biggest thing to note are if you get a concussion or if you have a head injury, you're automatically removed from that contest, and you cannot compete again until you've been cleared by a doctor. And so concussions are a little different than other injuries. Sometimes you can dislocate a finger and play in that next game. A concussion's different. You can't do that until you're medically cleared. So whenever you have a head injury, you have to go get medical clearance. Things that we're doing. Last year we ran the impact test through with some of our sports. Worked out pretty well, so this year we're doing it with all of them. And so like soccer, all the soccer players are going to get impact tested. It's a computer test where you sit down and it logs a baseline for you that's good for 2 years. If you get a head injury, you have to log back onto the computer. You have to pass that before we'll clear you. Doctors will call us and ask us for those test scores. It just helps us verify that you're ready to return to action. So we will impact test all the kids. We've got sponsors for that. We got about $2,000 in sponsors to cover those costs for the athletes. And so it is an expensive program, but definitely beneficial. All the coaches take a coaching class on concussions. We have the trainer to help out, and we have a doctor for some of the bigger events or some of the more intense ones. And like I said, there's your concussion rules. If a student athlete is suspected of having a head injury, they shall be removed from that competition and may not return to play until written clearance is received from a medical doctor. All right, step 5 is a social media contract. This is a new thing we added in. Last year, we had some problems on social media with our student athletes. All right, we ended up suspending a whole handful of them. And so we decided to add in a social media contract this year. This will continue to grow. I'll be honest with you, parents, dealing with discipline here, and I have 515 juniors. If I had a high school kid, I would have to log in to all their social media and I would check it. I don't care how mad they would be at me, I would check their social media, because you have, a lot of times when we call the parents in and we show them printouts, it shocks them what their son or daughter is actually putting online. So I'll be honest with you, I would check them. And that's just me, and you can call me, I guess, an overbearing father, but I would definitely check their social media. You will sign this contract if you want to be an athlete here. It talks about different things, and more than anything, the expectations that we have for our student athletes. And so, social media contracts on there. Step 6 is the VAC form and the VAC payment. The VAC form, and we'll talk about that a little more in a couple seconds, but just kind of explains where we're at financially, some of the different things going on. Here's basically our issues. A few years ago, before I took over, we took an $88,000 cut. So somehow we had to come up with a good chunk of that money. And the way the school district decided to attack that was a voluntary athletic contribution. And so that system's been pretty good for the most part until last year. Last year we fell $18,000 short in our projections from the year before. And so here's what we added on. As you pay your VAC, you're going to pick which sport you're playing. The VACs will be paid before August 11th. When August 11th rolls around, if certain teams have not brought in enough money from the voluntary athletic contribution, I'm going to have to make immediate cuts. And so I fundraised enough last year to cover that $18,000 deficit. I'm not doing it again. There's other things I need to buy. I need to buy equipment. We need to build some things. I'm not wasting that money on certain things. And I need help from the parents. Basically, for most sports, we're asking between $50 to $100. For those of you that play in the club world and other things, that's a rip-roaring deal. And so please help us out with the voluntary athletic contribution. We're having a fundraising dinner. We're doing golf tournaments to try to cover some of those other things, but we do need help. And so in dealing with some of the coaches and talking with them, their big thing was, we want to know which teams aren't paying. And we want the cuts to go to those teams. And so that's fine. And so that's how we're going to run the VAC program. So you will register your sport. We're keeping track of all that. And just to try to keep some of the programs alive. The VAC money, the number one thing it goes to is coaches. It helps us pay our coaches. So instead of being a 30-to-1 ratio, hopefully we can hire an assistant coach and we can make that a 15-to-1 ratio or whatever it is. So the more coaches we can pay, the better coaching your student athletes are going to get. And so last year, 87% of our VAC money went to coaches. And so just trying to help supplement that and bring on as many coaches as possible to help your son or daughter. So that's kind of just the situation. On the VAC payment, that's the last step. That's step 7. But you'll see you'll just select your sport. What we did is we went through and said, okay, soccer needs to bring in this much per kid to cover their coaching stipends. And so we kind of went through each sport. That's why there are various amounts. And so that's kind of how the VAC payment's going to work. So please help us out there. We need the help. Like I said, I fundraised and covered $18,000 last year. I can't do it again. All right, online registration. If you're a fall athlete, needs to be completed by August 8th at 3 p.m. That's when I'm going to pull my final query. All right, and just to let you know, we do come in on Saturday because my secretary, I send her home that day. We pull all those people who logged in on Friday, and we come in and do it over the weekend. And so, but you need to be in the computer system Friday by 3 p.m. And then winter and spring, there's those dates. All right, some athletic information. The season start dates. Fall sports, August 11th. So the 8th is Friday, the 11th is Monday. When you're a fall athlete, some holidays to watch out for. Labor Day, Halloween, and Thanksgiving can be affected. All right, Thanksgiving normally only if you're a football player. They're the only ones that normally play that late. All right, but know that on Labor Day, chances are you're going to have practice. On Halloween, I can tell you right now, some of you in here have games that day. So probably don't plan on going trick-or-treating, okay? Because going trick-or-treating and miss a game, just to let you know, is an unexcused absence. And so just please know, and I want to give you guys a heads up, that those are the holidays that are sometimes affected. Veterans Day, when you get into some of those playoff seasons. And so for fall, those are the big holidays that are affected. All right, school information. Our governing body is the CIF. Our section's the Sac Joaquin section. We're in a new league this year. So for those of you that are older, we will no longer be part of the Capital Athletic League. We're now in what's called the Capital Valley Conference. It's an 8-team league, so it's not a 6-team league, a little different. There's our leagues or the schools we're with. So Antelope High School, Bella Vista, Consumnes Oaks, out of Elk Grove, Del Campo, Oakmont, Ponderosa, and Roseville. So it's an awesome league. It's going to be a lot of fun, and the competition is going to be a lot better. And so those are our new the teams we're with. Significant changes for this coming school year from the athletic department. Obviously the new league and opponents. A lot of those have changed. The playoff structure. In most sports now, it's all based on enrollment. For the most part, we'll be a Division II school in the playoffs. And so that's pretty much where our enrollment puts us. We are now a BSN school. They're a big athletic and apparel company. We signed a school-wide contract with them. They're doing all our equipment, our uniforms, our attire, and all that stuff. And so I know some of you got a little flyer on the way in. They're just doing a little one-week store for us. We ran it with some of the football parents. It worked out great. And so if you're just interested in getting Whitney attire, but they're doing all of our stuff for us. It's a great deal. and for us, it's a good percentage off on a lot of things. Nike's already given us $9,000 from this deal. And so helping us out get some new uniforms for soccer and some of the different sports. Just, you guys aren't the football parents, but in the league schedule, the football schedule did change. Freshmen and JV play on a Thursday night once we start league, and it's varsity only on Friday. And so sets it more like a playoff atmosphere for those varsity teams. And so that change was made. Our areas of emphasis in the athletic department. I've been talking with the coaches, dealing with the coaches. The expectation is they're going to add in a couple different things. One, character education. Some of our programs do an absolutely phenomenal job. And football, boys basketball, and baseball are probably the three that come to mind. They've been awesome in regards to that. But all the coaches were asked to implement some type of character education program. Community service. All programs were asked to do one community service event. We're trying to update and build some new facilities. Trying to keep fundraising, get sponsorships. We're working on publicity and marketing. One thing we're doing this year is we're doing a fall all sports program. So it'll be all teams, all levels in one program. And we're going to sell them for $5 each. Not very much money. And they're full color, full print, and everything. And so, but just trying to get some publicity out there, trying to build some of that marketing stuff. Continue to emphasize the Student Athlete Senate. We have 23 kids, one represent from every sport, and I meet with them every other week. And then the other thing we did, probably going back to that life skills and trying to make this program bigger and better, is we are hiring athletic interns for next year. We had about 16 different kids apply. They're going to meet with me every other day. So they're going to be loading a 6-period class. And we had different job descriptions that they applied for. So we had graphics and design, facilities, event management, different things like that, trying to add in and give them some of that real-world experience. So that's kind of our areas of emphasis. All right, that's all I have for you. So